Mario was an old man with a very questionable character. He was always making new girlfriends and chasing young women. There were 4 people living in Mario's house. He was the only man in the house, along with 3 women, his wife, a maid, and another woman named Barbara, who was his late brother's widow. Mario secretly wanted to have an affair with Barbara while hiding it from his wife, but Barbara had no interest in him. One day, Mario meets his close friend Mark, who is also somewhat of a romantic man like him. Mario invites him to his house so that Mark can help him get closer to Barbara. Mark lived on a boat and had no permanent place to stay. After a while, both of them head toward the house. The house was located by a lake and looked like a grand mansion. Mario tells him that the house came as a dowry, so his wife Mary Faye is actually the real owner of it. As soon as they arrive at the mansion, Mario admits that he doesn't like his wife. Shortly after, Mark meets Mario's wife Mary, who always suspected Mario because she knew about his nature. After a while, Barbara joins them. She was a widow, but her beauty completely captivates Mark. Mary then announces that dinner is ready. Mario is unable to respond properly, which makes Mark realize that Mario lives in fear of his wife. Mark also notices that Mario has a habit of lying. During dinner, Mario and Mary get into an argument while talking, especially about the 10 years Mario spent away from home under the excuse of war. In this house, only Mary's authority mattered. Then the conversation shifts to Barbara's husband, who had gone to war 10 years ago and never returned. It is revealed that Barbara was married and her husband left for war the very next day. Mary kept a very strict eye on Barbara and treated her like a caged bird, controlling her every move. Mark could not bear to see Barbara living like this. He wanted to take her away somewhere far, where they could be together and fall in love. After dinner, Mario takes Mark to a room. In the mansion, there was a special bedroom that once belonged to Mary's great-grandfather, a bishop. Mark tells a story about him, how he used to come to this village to meet his lover. Mario gives Mark the same room to stay in. When it's time to sleep, Barbara comes to prepare Mark's bed. Mark is already mesmerized by her beauty and tries to start a conversation. Although she lived there like a servant, her beauty could captivate anyone. But before Mark could say much, Mario suddenly returns to the room. After talking for a while, Mario also leaves and goes to his room to sleep. Later that night, Mark is getting ready for bed when he suddenly hears a noise coming from the room next door. Startled, he looks over and sees Barbara standing in front of a mirror, admiring her beauty. The moment he sees her, a strong desire rises in Mark's heart. He becomes determined to confess his feelings to her somehow. Meanwhile, Barbara has no idea that someone is watching her. The next morning, Mark has to leave Mario's house, even though he doesn't want to. As he prepares to leave on his boat, he invites Mario to come along for a ride on the lake. Mario agrees, and after some time, they reach the lakeside, freshen up, and then spend a long time out on the water. After a while, Mark notices that his girlfriend has arrived there. He runs toward her and embraces her. Mario, on the other hand, becomes very pleased upon seeing her. Soon, Mark's girlfriend occupies his thoughts, and he begins to desire her. When Mark returns, Mario pretends as if he hasn't seen anything. After the girlfriend leaves, Mark quickly pulls out her address from his diary and takes Mario along to her house. At her place, one of her friends is also present. Mario immediately becomes interested in her as well. He repeatedly tries to talk to her. Even though he is old, Mario still believes he is young at heart. He never considers himself old and quickly tries to get close to the girl, but she doesn't like his behavior and runs back to her friend. Mario follows jokingly and invites everyone to dinner since he had already prepared a meal for them earlier. Everyone is cheerful. Mark's girlfriend dances with Mario, and after getting tired, they sit down for drinks. Meanwhile, Mario notices that her friend is in another room. Seizing the opportunity, he goes there and tries to seduce her, but she becomes angry. Mark finds out about this and somehow manages to calm the situation and takes Mario away back to the boat. The next day, at Mario's request, Mark invites both girls onto his boat. They all have a great time together. We see that after many years of leaving the army, this is one of the few days in Mario's life when he truly enjoys himself. Thinking about it makes him emotional. That evening, all of them gather by the lakeside and talk about their lives. They spend some time there, but suddenly a storm begins, followed by heavy rain. They quickly start packing up and try to leave in the boat, but the storm makes it difficult to control it. Mark's girlfriend is holding onto a rope, and Mario moves closer to her, but he doesn't manage to do anything. After some time, the storm calms down, and they reach the girlfriend's house. Mark suggests going inside, but Mario manipulates the situation, saying he's too tired. In reality, he wants to spend time with Mark's girlfriend. He convinces Mark to leave her home instead. Later, Mark leaves alone on the boat and heads back toward Mario's house across the lake. When he gets close, he sees Barbara standing by the window. Seeing an opportunity, Mark signals to her that no one is inside the house. Barbara gestures for him to come in, but when Mark enters the house, he is surprised. Mario's wife starts asking about Mario. Mark has to make an excuse, saying that Mario is staying at a friend's place. Mary gets angry and tells him to bring Mario back immediately, then walks away. Mark feels upset upset. Meanwhile, Barbara is standing nearby. Taking advantage of the moment, she blows a kiss toward Mark and then leaves. When Mark returns home, he finds that neither Mario nor his girlfriend is there. As he searches for them, he reaches the bedroom and sees Mario inside the room with his girlfriend. Mark's girlfriend tells him that Mario couldn't sleep at night because he was having nightmares, so she let him stay with her. From this, Mark clearly understands that Mario is a deeply immoral and shameless man. However, Mark chooses not to confront him because if he fights with Mario, he might lose his chance to meet Barbara. Thinking this through, Mark stays calm and instead asks Mario when they should return, since his wife is looking for him. Hearing this, Mario is reminded of his home and agrees to go back. After spending a few days on Mark's boat, Mario finally returns home with him. He had gone away without informing his wife Mary, and now he hesitates to face her. But as he looks toward his house from a distance through binoculars, Mario immediately heads back home. Once there, he happily meets the girls and suggests taking them out. The girls get excited, but Mary, who knows Mario well, wants to stop him, though she says nothing at that moment. Meanwhile, Mark stays behind and tries to talk to Barbara, but she cannot speak freely in front of Mary. After Mary leaves, Mark talks to Barbara and quietly asks her to meet him at night. Barbara is scared and hesitant to respond. Mario quietly goes and sits in a corner. Everyone else is enjoying themselves outside the house, but Mario stays apart. At that moment, Mark is also present, watching him. The gardener then tells Mark that Mario is a very disgraceful and immoral man who has even thought about behaving badly with his daughter. He will teach him a lesson with his tools. After such humiliation, Mario starts crying, unable to understand what to do. After sitting alone for a long time, he goes inside the house in the evening and quietly finishes his dinner. After dinner, everyone gathers outside. Mary begins explaining household responsibilities to Barbara, but Barbara's attention is on Mark, and Mark's attention is on her. Because of Mary's presence, they cannot say anything, but Mark signals that he wants to meet her at midnight. Barbara responds with a gesture, indicating she will come. Though they cannot speak, their eyes bring them closer. At midnight, while Mark is in his room, he hears someone at the door. He thinks it might be Barbara, but when the door opens, he is disappointed. It is Mario. Mario tells him that he and Barbara love each other deeply, but because of his wife Mary, they cannot be together. He asks Mark for help. He wants Mark to bring Barbara onto the boat, and in return, he asks Mark to invite his own girlfriend as well so that Barbara won't feel alone. Mario adds that he knows Mark and Barbara have feelings for each other, but asks him as a friend to help anyway so that they can all enjoy themselves together. Mark finds it hard to refuse and agrees. The next day, as promised, Mark brings Barbara onto the boat. Mario tries to charm and persuade her, but Barbara's attention remains on Mark. Mark understands this and takes the boat to a quiet place. Getting off the boat, Mario again requests Mark to somehow help him get closer to Barbara. After some time, Mark's girlfriend Jenny also arrives, and now there are 4 people on the boat. They all head toward a distant location. Mario tells Mark to spend time with Jenny, while he will spend time with Barbara. Although Mark and Barbara have started liking each other, Mario stands in between them. Later, according to plan, they all reach a market. Barbara and Jenny go shopping together, while Mario stays with Mark. Mario explains that he wants to book a room and spend time with Barbara, asking Mark for help. Even though Mark doesn't want to, he agrees. Mario then books a hotel room for himself and Barbara, planning to stay there with her. Meanwhile, Mark is on the boat with Barbara, trying to convince her to go to the hotel with Mario. But Barbara tells him that Mario is not a good man. Still, Mark makes a request. He asks her to spend one night with Mario so that, in return, Mario can help them get married. Barbara does not like this at all, but she agrees reluctantly, hoping that later she can be with Mark. That night, Barbara went to the hotel with Mario. Mark couldn't sleep, so late at night he went out onto the city streets. While wandering around, he noticed a man who looked exactly like Mario. The man was riding a bicycle very fast, heading somewhere, but Mark didn't pay much attention to it. The next morning, Mario thanks Mark. After that, Mark meets Barbara, and the two of them, then all of them go to a restaurant. While they are eating, a police officer arrives and gives Mario some terrible news. His wife Mary has died However, judging by their reactions, it doesn't seem like they are deeply affected by her death. The police begin investigating Mary's death. During the investigation, they find a letter that Mario himself had written to his wife. In it, he had confessed his love for Barbara. It is assumed that after Mary's death, Barbara wants to become the owner of the house. To achieve this, she marries Mario, and the two of them settle into their married life. Meanwhile, Mark moves on with his life, but he has broken up with his girlfriend. One day, Mark goes to visit Mario and Barbara at their house. There, he realizes that their relationship is not going well. At one point, when Mario steps out, Barbara tells Mark that she believes Mary. Mark agrees, saying that he also suspects the same. An unexpected man arrives at Mario's house. It is Barbara's husband, John, who had been missing for the past 10 years. Everyone is shocked to see him. However, it turns out he has not come for Barbara, but because he heard about his sister's death. He explains that he had been communicating with his sister through letters, and she knew he was alive but had kept it a secret. During the war, he had been captured, which is why he never returned home. But the news of his sister's death forced him to come back. He and his sister, she had promised to meet him soon and had written in her last letter that she wanted to throw Mario out of the house. With this new twist, the police reopen the case and begin a fresh investigation. Mark tells John that he had seen Mario riding somewhere quickly that night. With the help of the police, they track down the man who had rented a bicycle to Mario. Based on the witness testimony and new evidence, the police come to arrest Mario. But overwhelmed with shame, Mario asks for a little time. He goes into the bishop's room. A few days after this incident, John transfers all his property to Barbara and tells her that he will never return, as he has started a business abroad and is living his life there. After saying goodbye, he leaves. Mark and Barbara spend the night together. Barbara now wants to marry Mark and live the rest of her life with him. However, Mark refuses and returns to his boat. He's not certain that it was really Mario he saw on the bicycle that night. Because of this, he begins to suspect that Barbara may have been behind everything. In the end, Mark says goodbye to her forever and leaves.